Chasiv Yar was never meant to be famous. Before the war, it was just another sleepy Ukrainian town in Donetsk Oblast, home to some 12,000 people, tidy apartment blocks, narrow streets, and families who lived off mining and factory work. But everything changed when the war came. In March 2024, shortly after Russia claimed the victory in Bakhmut, Russian generals set their sights on Chasiv Yar, just 10 kilometers to the west. What followed was 16 months of brutal close-quarters fighting. Why so long? Because this wasn't just a battle for a town. It was a fight for the high ground, for the road to Pokrovsk, and for control over the very shape of the war in Donbass. Chasiv Yar sits on a ridge, elevated terrain that overlooks the surrounding flatlands of Donetsk. Militarily, this gives whoever holds it fire control over the entire region. But there's more. It guards the roads to Kostiantynivka, a major Ukrainian logistics hub supplying frontline forces. It's a stepping stone to Pokrovsk, a city that anchors Ukraine's eastern defense line. And it's a psychological sequel to Bakhmut. Russia lost thousands there, but claimed victory. Chasiv Yar was the next domino. For Russia, it wasn't just geography. It was momentum, propaganda, and positioning all rolled into one. From spring 2024 to summer 2025, Russia threw everything at Chasiv Yar: artillery, drones, elite units, even thermobaric rockets. But Ukraine didn't give up easily. The town was fortified with bunkers, trench lines, and tunnel networks. Ukrainian defenders rotated regularly, staying fresh while Russian waves often included poorly trained troops. Every block became a fortress, every basement a battlefield. Russia's creeping assault was slow, like a knife pressing against a wall. They advanced house by house, losing hundreds for every 50 meters gained. In July 2025, Russia claimed the victory, saying they had full control of Chasiv Yar. Ukraine denied it. Russia does control most of the town, likely 80 to 90%. Ukraine still has small units operating in the western outskirts and surrounding ridgelines. But Ukraine's grip is slipping, and the costs of holding on are rising. It's not yet a clean Russian victory, but the lines are clearly moving westward. Russia didn't take Chasiv Yar for free. Reports suggest 15,000 to 18,000 Russian casualties, with up to 4,000 confirmed dead. Multiple brigades, including the 98th Airborne Division and the 150th Motor Rifle Division, and former Wagner elements, were bled dry. Ukrainian casualties are lower but still staggering. Sources suggest 4,000 to 6,000 dead or wounded, with heavy losses in the 5th Assault Brigade and 67th Mechanized. Entire apartment blocks were turned into rubble. Civilians who stayed behind, mostly the elderly, died in basements or under falling buildings. Ukraine didn't lose Chasiv Yar overnight. It was death by 1,000 cuts. Delayed Western aid meant they ran low on artillery shells, air defense systems, and FPV drones. Manpower shortages hit hard. Many brigades were exhausted from fighting in Avdiivka and Bakhmut. Russia had air superiority. Bombs fell from Su-34 bombers from miles away. Ukrainian soldiers couldn't even shoot back. And worst of all, the terrain worked against them. Once Russians reached the top of the ridge, holding the town became almost impossible. Russia adapted. They learned from failures in Bakhmut and Avdiivka. This time, they used recon drones and guided bombs to break Ukrainian strongpoints. They rotated elite troops more frequently and preserved their best forces for the final push. They deployed electronic warfare to jam Ukrainian drones and communications, and they had time. No rush, no deadlines, just pressure. Russia bled their way into Chasiv Yar, but in the end, brute force and attrition worked. Let's be clear. This wasn't about just one town. For Russia, Chasiv Yar is a strategic gateway. From here, they can push toward Kostiantynivka, which has vital Ukrainian supply hubs. Pokrovsk, a city that holds together Ukraine's eastern front, the Sloviansk-Kramatorsk line, one of the last major Ukrainian strongholds in Donetsk. For Ukraine, losing Chasiv Yar is a nightmare because they lose the high ground, they lose control over key transport routes, and they lose a buffer. Without Chasiv Yar, the next battles come faster and harder. The town, the blood, the turning point, Chasiv Yar was never supposed to be a battlefield, but over 16 months it became a symbol of resistance, yes, but also of how this war has changed. It's no longer fast tanks and dramatic breakthroughs. It's artillery duels, drone swarms, infantry in basements, and victories measured in broken buildings. Russia may have taken Chasiv Yar, but it cost them dearly, and what they've won is only a place on the map, not the end of the war. As the front moves west, Ukraine regroups. The question now isn't whether Chasiv Yar fell, it's whether it was worth it.